In this module, we shall learn modern theories of investment. Investment has always remained an important component of economic analysis. It plays a key role in short-term as well as long-term economic growth. Economists study investment to better understand fluctuations in the economy's output of goods and services and other related variables. As with the changes in the economies across the world, the economic thought has undergone various changes. The theories of investment have also followed the same path. Yet the importance of investment in any economy is not a challengeable proposition. Rather, with time, this component has assumed greater importance for achieving the targets of economic growth as well as economic welfare. Hence, in this module, we will discuss Tobin's Q theories along with use of dynamic optimization. While the baseline investment theories say that the firms face a perfectly elastic supply of capital goods and adjust their capital stocks costlessly, the Q theory assumes that the firms do face the cost of adjustment in their capital stocks. It also provides an insight into the effects of expectations as well as the current economic conditions on investments. After studying this module, you shall be able to evaluate the premises of the baseline model of investment, examine the need of a modern theory of investment, understand the adjustment costs, examine the dynamic optimization of a firm's behavior, understand Tobin's Q and firm's investment behavior. Let us now discuss the need of modern theory of investment. The need of a modern theory of investment has actually been felt due to failure of the baseline model, mainly on two fronts. Firstly, the baseline theory is actually based on the faulty assumption that a firm's desired stock of capital is a smooth function of exogenous variables such as rate of interest, and any change therein also leads to a change in desired stock of capital. But it ignores the fact that the desired capital stock in any economy is a function of output. The economy's output is actually a limiting factor for investment at any point of time. Therefore, aggregate investment cannot simply be increased infinitely and discretely with the exogenous factors. Secondly, the baseline model does not analyze the effect of expectations on investment demand. This model simply assumes that the firms equate the current marginal revenue product of capital with its current user cost without taking into account the future marginal revenue products and user cost, while we know that rational investors keep in account both the current as well as the future marginal revenue productivity of the venture in which he or she considers to invest. Therefore, the investment decisions of the firms or individuals cannot be rationally analyzed on basis of the baseline model of investment. So, there is a need to modify these propositions. Moving on to the adjustment cost. Before we analyze the modern theory of investment, it is necessary to understand the concept of adjustment cost, that is, the cost the firms bear when they change their capital stock according to the change in their other determining factors. These adjustment costs come in two forms. The first one is internal adjustment cost. Internal adjustment costs are actually the direct cost of changing the capital stock. For example, the cost of installing new machinery, training the workers for operating the new technique, etc. The second one is external adjustment cost. External adjustment cost arises because the supply of capital goods is not perfectly elastic in any economy. Therefore, as the firms will try to increase their investment in capital stock for a fall in rate of interest, it will raise the price of capital goods as their supply is not perfectly elastic. This results into a continuous adjustment in the rental price of capital goods, and so the increase in investment does not become infinite. Now we shall understand the investment model with adjustment cost. To begin with, first we will take the adjustment cost to be internal only. Other simplifying assumptions are that the firm's real profits are proportional to its capital stock and the marginal returns are diminishing with the capital stock of industry as a whole. It has also been assumed that the constant returns to scale are applicable to a firm and all factors other than capital have perfectly elastic supply. The firms face cost of adjusting their capital stock and the marginal adjustment costs are increasing with size of adjustments in the capital stock. Other simplifying assumptions are that the purchase price of capital goods is constant and unity and there is no depreciation. Let us discuss the model dynamic optimization. Considering an industry with n number of firms, since the profits are proportional to its capital stock, KT, and decreasing with the industry-wise capital stock, capital KT, the profit function takes the form pi capital KT into small kt, where pi dash dot is less than 0. The adjustment cost capital CK is such that C0 is equal to 0, C dash 0 is equal to 0, C double dash dot is greater than 0, and since the depreciation is assumed to be 0, K dot T is equal to IT, where I is the firm's investment. Thus, the firm's profits at any point of time can be shown as pi capital K into K minus I minus Ci. Maximizing the present value of these profits, we have pi is equal to an integral where t is equal to 0 to infinity, e raised to power ri into pi capital Kt small kt minus it minus capital Cit into dt. The firm will try to maximize phi and therefore chooses its investment level to satisfy this objective function. The capital stock of the firm at a point is written as Kt plus 1 is equal to Kt plus It. The objective function of the firm can be written as pi bar is equal to summation t is equal to 0 to infinity 1 upon 1 plus r raised to power t into pi kt into kt minus it minus Cit, subject to the constraint that kt plus 1 is equal to kt plus it. Since there are infinitely many periods, there are infinitely many constraints, and above equation can be maximized by taking the Lagrangian equation where the first order condition will be 1 upon r raised to power t multiplied with minus 1 minus c dash it plus qt is equal to 0, or 1 plus c dash it is equal to qt. This condition shows that cost of acquiring a unit of capital equal the purchase price, which is assumed to be fixed at 1, plus the marginal adjustment cost. Thus we can say that the firms invest to the point where the cost of acquiring capital equals the value of the capital. Considering the first order condition regarding the constraint factor in the Lagrangian equation is 1 upon 1 plus r raised to power t into pi capital Kt plus Qt minus 1 upon 1 plus r raised to power t minus 1 into Qt minus 1 is equal to 0, or pi Kt is equal to 1 plus r Qt minus 1 minus Qt, which is equal to Qt minus 1 plus r Qt minus 1 minus Qt. If we take delta Qt is equal to Qt minus 1, this equation becomes pi capital Kt is equal to r Qt minus delta Qt minus r into delta Qt. This equation shows that the opportunity cost of a unit of capital is just equal to the marginal revenue product of capital. Thus, we can say that the firm rents capital to the point where its marginal revenue product equals its rental price. Finally, we can discuss about the transversality condition of firm's behavior, which states that firm's behavior in case of infinite time period t. If the firm has a finite time horizon, says t, and if it cannot have a negative capital stock, the optimality condition states that the value of capital stock must be 0 at the end of the finite time period. This condition states that 1 upon 1 plus r raised to power capital T into q t into kt is equal to 0. while in case of infinite time horizon, it becomes limit t tends to infinity 1 upon r raised to power t into qt kt is equal to 0. It is a transversality condition which states that the value of the capital stock must approach 0. If this condition fails, if the firm has a positive amount of capital forever, then it can increase the present value of its profits by reducing its capital stock. In this context, we can also consider a case of continuous time. Here too, we have the same three conditions as discussed above in case of discrete time. Now the firm tries to maximize the continuous time objective function, for which we set up the following current value Hamiltonian equation. That is HKTIT is equal to pi capital KT into small kt minus IT minus C into IT plus QT into capital IT minus K dot T. Here I is a control variable whose value is determined by the past decisions, that is K. The state variable, another state variable is Q in this equation. All the conditions in discrete time are applicable here. These conditions are analogous to discrete time problem, and these are number 1 plus C dash IT is equal to QT. Number 2, pi KT is equal to R into QT minus Q dot T. Number 3, limit t tends to infinity, e raised to power RT into QT into KT is equal to 0. Here we can express Q, the value of capital, in terms of capital's future marginal revenue products. The value of Q according to condition 1 for finite time capital T becomes QT is equal to integral of tau is equal to small t to capital T e raised to power minus r multiplied with tau minus t into phi into k tau and d tau plus e raised to power minus r multiplied with capital T minus t into qt for any capital T is greater than small t. The transversality condition implies that the second term approaches 0 as capital T approaches infinity. Thus we have small qt is equal to an integral of tau is equal to small t to capital T e raised to power minus r multiplied with tau minus t into pi into capital K tau into d tau. It states that the value of a unit of capital at a given time equals the discounted value of its future marginal revenue products. Moving on to the Tobin's Q. In our analysis, we have seen that Q is an important factor behind a firm's investment decisions. It shows how an additional unit of capital affects the present value of profits. The firm's capital stock is directly related with the value of Q. A 1 unit increase in the firm's capital stock increases the present value of the firm's profits by Q. Thus Q in general is the market value of a unit of capital, and since it has been assumed that the purchase price of capital is fixed at 1, Q is also the ratio of the market value of a unit of capital to its replacement cost. Hence, Tobin's Q is defined as the ratio of the market value to the replacement cost of capital. Here too, we can have two different concepts of Q, the average Q and the marginal Q. The average Q is the ratio of the total value of the firm to the replacement cost of its total capital stock, while the marginal Q is the ratio of the marginal unit of capital to its replacement cost. There is a definite relationship between the marginal and average Q. Under the conditions of diminishing returns, firm's lifetime profits, that is capital pi, rise less than proportionately with their capital stock, and so marginal Q is less than the average Q. While in case of constant returns, the marginal and average Qs are equal to each other, and in case of increasing returns, the marginal Q is greater than the average Q. The dynamic optimization can also be understood with help of the diagram. The two variables will focus on the aggregate quantity of capital K and its value Q. The discussion on optimization behavior has pointed out that the firm invests to the point where the purchase price of capital plus the marginal adjustment cost equals the value of capital, that is 1 plus C dash I is equal to Q. Since C dash I is increasing in I, this condition implies that I is increasing in Q. And since C dash 0 is equal to 0, it implies I is 0 when Q is equal to 1. Since Q is same for all the firms, all of them choose the same value of I. Hence, the rate of change in capital stock, that is capital K dot, is given by the number of firms n times the value of I that satisfies the condition 1. Thus, K dot T is equal to FQT, where F1 is equal to 0 and F dash dot is greater than 0. Here FQ is equal to N C dash inverse into Q minus 1. This relationship implies that capital K is increasing when Q is greater than 1, diminishing when Q is less than 1 and constant when Q is 0. Further, the second condition states that the marginal revenue product of capital equals its user cost, that is pi capital KT is equal to R into QT minus Q dot T, or Q dot T is equal to R into QT minus pi capital KT if Q is constant, Q dot T is equal to 0 and R into Q minus pi into capital K, or Q is equal to pi K upon R. Since pi K is decreasing in capital K, the set of points satisfying this condition will be downward sloping into K and Q space. Since Q dot is increasing in K, Q dot is positive to the right of point where Q dot is equal to 0 and negative to the left of it. With this information, we can now try to understand the figure, which is a phase diagram. The diagram shows that capital K and Q behave in such a way that they must satisfy the condition that capital K dot T is a function of Qt and Q dot T is equal to R into Qt minus pi into capital KT at every point of time. To start with, let us assume that the firm starts at point A in the diagram. Here we can see that Q is greater than 1, hence the firm will increase their capital stocks and hence K dot will be positive. Since K is high and therefore the profits are low, Q can be high if it is expected to rise and thus leading to a positive Q dot. Therefore, K and Q move up and to the right in the diagram. For a given level of K, there is a unique level of Q on stable growth path. This is shown by point E in the diagram. If Q starts below this level, both K and Q will be falling continuously. And if Q starts too high, the industry moves in the region where both K and Q are rising. On these paths, the transversality condition fails. If we start from point A, although the firm experiences rising value of capital, but both Q and Q dot are high in this segment and therefore pi K is equal to R into Q minus Q dot is not very high. Thus, a high value of capital in this region does not make large contributions to firm's profits. On the other hand, the firm can increase the present value of its lifetime profits by lowering the path of its capital holdings, that is where K and Q are continually falling. Thus, the unique equilibrium given the initial value of K is for Q to move along the saddle path to E as shown in the figure. We can see in this figure that the long run equilibrium is achieved at point E, where Q is equal to 1, which implies that K dot is equal to 0 and Q dot is equal to 0 for Q is equal to 1, means that the market and replacement value of the capital are equal, that is the firm has no incentive to change its capital stock in either direction. From the condition pi K is equal to RQ minus Q dot, the value of Q is equal to 1 also means that the marginal revenue product of capital must equal R, which implies that the A unit of capital earns profits just equal to the foregone interest, and so they are just contented to hold this much of capital. Let us now summarize what we have learned in this module. Classical and neoclassical theories of investment has taken investment mainly a function of exogenous factors like rate of interest, and any change in these determining factors leads to timeless change in the investment without any adjustment costs. But the modern theory has pointed out that the supply of capital is generally not perfectly elastic, and therefore any change in the determining factors always leads to change in cost of capital. Hence, the firms always bear some adjustment costs. These adjustment costs can be internal as well as external. Therefore, the firm try to optimize their objective function by keeping these adjustment costs in view. The dynamic optimization states that the firms optimize their investment decisions if three conditions are met in discrete as well as continuous time problem. These are the satisfaction of transversality condition, the condition of employing capital up to a point where the cost of acquiring capital equals the value of capital, and the opportunity cost of a unity of capital is just equal to the marginal revenue product of capital. With these conditions, the long run equilibrium is achieved where the value of Tobin's Q is equal to 1.